All you gotta do is pull up here. You know, you wanna join me? Pull up and join me. You know what I'm saying? Pull right up here and you can join me. I'm on live.
Yeah, talk that shit. Yeah.
We're here, baby. Pull up.
Know what's up.
211, never hit.
Know what's up. We out.
You know what I mean? We're here, baby. J1 pulling up. He went home. You know, after the gym, he want to go get fleet.
Gym will be out of business
Weatherman
after
Pete.
August 3rd, so I'm practicing the weatherman. As you can see, I'm in Harlem, New York. What up, Harlem? I love y'all, you know, but I shit don't go that fast, okay? But anyway, I just want to say, after August 3rd, I'm going to be the new weatherman. If I ain't going to be it, Kiss is going to fill in, or we're going to have to do this shit together. But August 3rd, after August 3rd,
I didn't start it. They asked me how I felt about what was said about me on another platform from some other people. You know, I'm not a troublemaker.
P ain't just throwing little jabs. Nah. They straight aired him out with them bars. No filter, but let's keep it a buck. All this really goes back to Jim and that constant need he had to prove something. Whether he's running his mouth in interviews, posting heavily on the gram, or rapping like he has a point to make. Jim Jones has been doing the absolute most lately, and now it's all blowing back on him. These past few years, Jim has been hustling hard to flip the script. From rapper to street boss to businessman, and now some kind of fashion head. But somewhere along the way, folks started looking at him funny, like, is this dude solid or just putting on for the cameras? And that's exactly what Jadakiss and Styles P were calling out. They don't even have to drop his name. Everybody knew who they meant when Styles said, "You don't buy street bread. You've got to earn that." Boom. That bar hit Jim like a body blow. No matter how many tracks he drops or how much drip he's rocking on his neck, Jim still ain't touching. The kind of respect Jada and Styles have been sitting on for years. Let's call it what it is. Jim Jones is always in grind mode. Either trying to claim he the king of New York or stirring up drama just to keep his name ringing. He doesn't know how to chill.
Styles P, let's talk about it. Versus started out as how much body of work you got, how many dope ass singles you got, right? Then it grew, it progressed into having levels to this shit. It's sort of like boxing. You think you're gonna mash somebody the out until them lights come on, it's a different story. Styles P said, I'm a barsmith. It's levels to this shit. Meaning, look, I could go on my bag with singles.
Jim ought to have simply held that L and kept things going after the Locks destroyed Dipset in the Versus matchup. However, he attempted to pretend that Dipset wasn't even pressed that evening by hurling insults and using slick language. Stop it. Please. Did anyone forget how Jadakiss took down the entire stage by himself? The truth was revealed in that instant. With this most recent call-out, Jadakiss and Styles are now urinating to inform Jim of the actual time. They entered completely. Jim said that he was attempting to be everywhere at once and was overstretching himself. Jim's recent actions seem to be nothing more than smoke and mirrors. And he won't get away with it from Styles P. He didn't even bother to sound pleasant in a recent interview. He stated unequivocally that Jim's entire mood had been contrived. Jim established his name off Harlem authenticity, not PR gimmicks, so it hurt. And it struck a different chord when a guy like Styles called your enthusiasm fake. Jim had that stamp from the block back then, rapping wasn't all he did. He was indeed outside. However, that rawness was eventually replaced with Fashion Week outfits and posturing in other countries, as if he had sacrificed his gritty side to capitalize on influencer buzz. People also peek at the switch. Styles and Jada are simply raising the volume. It's not even about having no personal grudges. Real people are the ones who are pointing out what they observe. Straight bars and timeless classics are the foundation of Jada and Styles' reputation. They didn't have to do anything. They are thus pursuing viral moments when they spot Jim out here. That's what started him talking about it rather than creating good songs. Jim continues to follow trends as if he were pursuing the next great thing. The lower ones, however, are the problem. They have the blueprint. Additionally, Jim is occupied with gimmicks rather than releasing true masterpieces.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he's been in a few fights.
Has he won any?
I believe so.
Oh, really? Which one?
They say he beat up.
His baby mama or something like that?
Nah, he beat up dude at the restaurant.
For the cook?
Let me see.
I don't even think he's from Harlem, tell you the truth.
You don't think he's from Harlem?
Nope. I think they never talk about him being in Harlem. I think he's from North Bronx or some shit.
You know, he claims a blood gang out there.
Britney Spears claims the blood.
It's got the OGs looking at him sideways. The streets always remember who's solid and who's just playing dress up. What really reignited this whole mess? Jim Jones stepping into them podcast spaces like he's the one running New York rap. Dude. Dared to put himself over certified legends, and folks were not having it. Jadakiss ain't even say much at first, but that silence, it spoke volumes. Then he came back with a cool little clapback that got the whole net talking. See Jim, stay pushing this I'm elite story, but you can't crown yourself king off your own hype. You need the hits, the grind, the love from the streets. And when Jada hit him with the numbers don't lie, the people don't forget that was a quiet mic drop, cause everybody still remembers that versus battle, and Jim still can't shake that L Styles. P followed up by saying, trying to crown yourself while throwing shade at others. That's weak vibes. He was like, if you got to step on folks just to stand tall, you were never built right to begin with. Boom. That flipped the whole convo about legacy and respect on its head. Jim might got drip, might get grind. But Jada and Styles, come. With something deeper. Credibility. They never had to scream about being the kings of New York. The culture already gave him that throne a long time ago.
Said it's gonna be a real problem. Mace need to go on a diet. He need to get his life together. He need to go to the doctor and get a physical. He looked terrible, bad body, back ass. He look big around the neck, waist look crazy. I'm body shaming this. You heard? He need to go get his shit together, get on the treadmill, do some push-ups, do something. You heard? Especially for playing with me.
Meanwhile, Jim's still out here chasing validation one post at a time. Let's not act brand new like this tension ain't been bubbling for years. Way before that Verzu showdown, they was throwing light jabs and freestyles, slick talk and tweets. And moments folks tried to play off. But now it's boiling over, and it's clear Jadakiss and Styles P have been keeping them receipts. In one of their IG lives, Styles called out how some rappers perform more for the Graham than they ever did for the block, and everybody knew who he was talking about. Jim's whole image done turned into a billboard. Flashy, loud, but it doesn't hit the soul. And Jada, he ain't even stressing. He said straight up, we don't compete with gimmicks. We compete with bars. That's a different kind of smoke. While Jim posts and selfies in designer stores, the look's still dropping bars that hit like truth bombs. The contrast is crazy and fans are taking sides. Now, don't get it twisted. Jim's talented, no doubt. But when every move feel like promo, it's hard for folks to connect with the music, especially when you're standing next to legends like Jadakiss and Styles P. This ain't about trends. It's about legacy. And right now, Jim's legacy looking real shaky. While the lock's out here aging. Like fine wine, smooth, solid, and only getting better with time.
I think Jim was trolling. So I don't have much to say about it because I don't believe that Jim Jones believes that he's a better rapper than Nas, Pusha T, and Styles P. Yeah. I think he's an icon in terms of the fashion shit. And yeah, but we got to stop the train at somewhere.
Nas is a good place to stop that.
Nas is a great place to stop that train for anybody.
Yeah.
When you start naming specific people,
I'm not mad at that.
It feels weird to me. Also, he doesn't have more Billboard entries than Nas. That's the other thing.
I didn't check.
What exactly makes this situation more chaotic? Given the way Jada and Styles have been speaking, Jim Jones continues to pretend like it's all jokes and vibes. No, they are being quite serious. Genuine criticism and friendly sparring are two different things. And when Jim continued flinging shade after verse, he went too far. Jim attempted to flip it like Jada and Styles in one of his postings, simply because he went. But precisely winning? Jada received platinum plaques, the entire hood riding for him, and timeless lyrics that are still amazing. Styles P. He is continuing to murder tracks while sprinting juice spots and dropping life gems. That's the W's of real life. Jim is out here shamelessly hunting clicks in the meantime. And the game's locks peep. Fans also do. Jim used to receive a lot of affection for being honest. However, admirers now claim that even his first day has gone too far into the gimmick lane, as if he had forgotten the rule. The real value in this rap business is authenticity. Styles and Jada have been moving heavily yet subtly. They are not required to speak aloud. When the moment is right, they bite. Additionally, Jim only serves to undermine his brand whenever he attempts to downplay their legacy. Their statements are, therefore, more impactful. They are expressing what many people have been feeling, not simply making fun of others. An additional explanation for the chirping on the streets. Jim continues to flip the versus L as if Dipset hadn't been steamrolled. He pretended to be unprepared or to be an idiot during interviews. But hurry up, no one is going to purchase it. The world witnessed Jadakiss transform into a complete monster that evening. It wasn't simply a flex moment. It served as a stark reminder of who was actually in charge of the microphone, the occasion, and the movement. The LX. They were hungry, cramped, and trapped in. It seems as though Dipset arrived at the last minute. Jim is still out there attempting to deflect the criticism. Styles P was the finest at it. What the audience has previously experienced cannot be remixed. The vitality of such a renowned structure. Jim's spinning just makes it appear worse. He is behaving as if it were only one evening. No, this is about lifespan. Styles and Jada continue to reside in that booth. The pin isn't rusted. Jim is out here doing his little side gig of talking about fashion and cryptocurrency like rap. Hip-hop, however, has a lengthy history. Additionally, it will only damage your streams and severely damage your reputation if you take a big L and attempt to pretend like it never happened. Nor are his new joints doing anything to assist. Despite his fancy movies and money showing, others claim that the pubs are empty. Only a little fire for the period, no soul or true impact. The entire Jim versus Nas debate wasn't even a genuine discussion. It's an entire icon. He merited that. Nas has very moving lyrics. He's not even in the same galaxy, Jim, dude. When you compare what Nas brought to the game with half of what Jim is saying, it doesn't even make sense. Like, hip-hop, hurry up. Are you all truly feigning ignorance? Are you insane? Attempting to approach this as a game. Playing with someone's legacy in that way is unacceptable. You all know it's not even close. Source magazine showed me affection. I accomplished legendary things. Jadakiss continues to drop bars that tremble the net in the meantime. Just pressure, no promotion. Rap endurance is what he and Styles are providing. To remain relevant, they don't need to do any antics. Their reputation was built on hard work rather than influence. Styles made it very apparent. Only one of them will endure over time, the others developed bridges and brands. Jim is now very into his brand, but that only works if the music is in sync with the listener's enthusiasm. It may have a nice appearance, but it won't stick around if the lyrics aren't decent. Jim is uploading fits and making disparaging remarks in captions rather than spitting actual bars. Influencer behavior is what that is. That's nice for the Grahams, but it's not good enough in this rap game. This goes beyond simple personal animosity. A culture war is going on. Traditional depth contrasted with this contemporary flash trend. Jim is attempting to play all roles except for Styles and Jada. All they need is a microphone to end it. This is where things get hot for